Hi, boys and girls. I've missed you. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas with your families. And now here we are in the year 2022, and you're back in school. And I hope you're working really hard, listening and learning. And today we have a new story. We have a story about an animal. Now, I'll bet many of you have stuffed animals. Sometimes you might even sleep with them or you have them decorating your room. I know I have some that are really cute and cuddly. And maybe you even have a very huggable bear. Well, today we're going to meet a special bear. And this bear's name is Winnie. And Winnie is also the name of a very special little girl who lives in London. Winnie is Father Jeremy's niece, and he's sharing this book with us today that he found with the name Winnie in it and thought we'd enjoy it along with his niece. So I hope while you're listening, maybe Winnie and her mom and dad will be listening all the way from London, England. Wouldn't that be exciting? Well, I want to show you something very special about my book today. Do you see this special medal right here up in the corner? Well, there are some books that have that special medal, and this one is called the Caldecott Medal. It is awarded to a book that the illustrator did such wonderful pictures, they wanted to award that illustrator with this special medal. There's also a medal that you might see on some books also that is called the Newbery Medal. And that is when they want to honor the author, the person who wrote all the words in the story, with a special honor. So today we're reading a story, and I want you to pay attention because these pictures received a very special award for the beautiful job that Sophie Blackall did on her drawings. That'll be fun to pay attention to. And now when you look at books at the library or the bookstore or maybe even on your bookshelf, you'll know what that means. Now, the book that we're going to read today is a true story, and it's about the world's most famous bear. We're going to read a story and meet Harry Colburn. He lived in England a very long time ago, and he served his country, and his job was to take care of the soldiers' horses. He was a veterinarian, and when we were reading this book that was written by Lindsay Mattick, she wanted us to hear the story about Winnie the Bear and tell us a little bit about Winnie the Pooh, which came much, much, much later. So let's check this story out and see what's going on with Finding Winnie, the true story of the world's most famous bear by Lindsay Mattick, and the illustrations, remember that special award, was Sophie Blackall. Oh, I think you're going to enjoy this. We're going to learn a lot from this story. Could you tell me a story? Asked Cole. It's awfully late. It's long past dark, and it's time to be asleep. What kind of story? Well, you know, a true story. And how about a story about a bear? So we cuddled up close, and I said, I'll do my best. That's a favorite part of the evening, isn't it, to cuddle up and read a story? A very long time ago, about 100 years before you were born, there was a veterinarian who lived in Winnipeg. His name was Harry Colburn. A vegetarian? Asked Cole. Bears don't like vegetables. No, a veterinarian. It means an animal doctor. Oh, I know that, Cole said. That's what I think I might be when I grow up. If a horse had the hiccups or a cow had a cough, Harry knew how to make them feel just right. Harry's hands were never cold, even in Winnipeg where the winters were so frosty that icicles would grow on the inside of your nose. That's just the kind of doctor he was. Sounds like a very kind man, doesn't he? But a day came when Harry had to say goodbye to Winnipeg. There was a war far away beyond the end of the country and on the other side of the ocean. And he was going to help. He would be caring for the soldiers' horses. Harry rode east on a train full of other soldiers, and he's leaning his head against the window, watching the land scroll by, wondering what it will be like to be so far away from his home. The train rolled right through dinner and over the sunset and around 10 o'clock and into a nap and out the next day until it finally stopped in a place called White River. Harry decided to stretch his legs, and on the train platform was a man on a bench with a baby. "A baby?" said Cole. A baby bear, a cub. Harry stopped. It's not every day that you see a bear cub at a train station. The bear had lost its mother, he thought, and that must be the trapper who got her. "What do trappers do?" asked Cole. "It's what trappers don't do. They don't raise bears." "Raise them?" "You know, love them." Do you see the bear? He's hiding right under the bench. Harry thought for a long time. Then he said to himself, there's something special about that bear. So he felt inside his pocket and he said, "I shouldn't." He paced back and forth. "I can't." But then his heart made up his mind, and he walked up to the trapper, and he said, "I'll give you $20 for that bear." "Is $20 a lot?" asked Cole. "Oh, back then," I said, "it was even more than a lot." Do you think the trapper will give him the bear for $20? He did. "Captain Colburn," said the colonel on the train as the little bear sniffed at his knees, "we are on a journey of 1,000 miles heading into the thick of a battle, and you propose to bring this most dangerous creature?" The bear stood straight up on his hind legs as if to salute the colonel. The colonel stopped speaking at once, and then in quite a different voice he said, "Oh, hello." The men in Harry's regiment all started to laugh. See how they're all looking, they're crowded together. "I've decided to name her Winnipeg," Harry told all of them, "so we'll never be far from home, and we'll call her Winnie for short." Oh, I think Winnie's making some friends. They had a very long way to travel, and they had already gone maybe 3 or 4 feet, and Winnie was hungry already. What do bears eat, the men all wondered. "What don't they eat?" said Harry. "Vegetables," Cole reminded me. No, Winnie ate vegetables. She ate everything, everything except onions. They brought her carrots and potatoes and apples and tomatoes and eggs and beans and bread and a tin of fish and some slop in a dish, but Winnie was still hungry. "How about dessert?" said Harry, holding up a bottle of condensed milk. Taking the treat in her paws, Winnie lay on her back as she held the milk, humming a happy song, and she drank it right down. The men were so happy. They're enjoying watching Winnie, aren't they? Harry and Winnie gathered the soldiers from all over Canada in the green fields. A whole city of tents had sprung up, and one was the hospital for the horses where Harry went to work. Do you see the horses by their hospital? That's where Harry will be working. Winnie was in the army now. Harry taught her to stand up straight, hold her head high, and turn this way and that. And soon she was assigned her own post. Even the colonel agreed that Winnie was a remarkable bear. She might have been the best navigator in the whole army. If you hid something, could she find it? She could. What if it was further away, or even further still? Remarkable, he cried. So, sounds like Winnie will be a good helper. In the evening, both of them were too tired to move. When Harry thought about Winnie and the voyage across the ocean, his head said, "I shouldn't." His head said, "I can't." But his heart made up his mind. Do you see where Winnie's sleeping? Yep, right under Harry. Nobody had ever tried to float so many people and animals across the Atlantic Ocean before. 30 ships sailed together, carrying about 36,000 men and about 7,500 horses and one bear named Winnie. Oh my goodness, they're all loaded up on these ships now. They've never tried to do that many before. When they finally arrived in England, the regiment went to training on the Salisbury Plain, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained. But Winnie didn't seem to mind. She was the mascot of the 2nd Canadian Infantry Brigade, and she attended her post with vigor. One day, Harry came running while she was doing her exercises in the tent. "You'll bring the whole place down," he said with a laugh. She had grown so much. Bears don't stay little like a little cub, do they? They grow, and she's been eating a lot. In the winter, the order came. The time has come to fight. And Winnie posed proudly with the men for pictures that they could send home to their families. Harry thought for a long time. His head argued one way, and then the other way. But his heart made up his mind. He went to Winnie and he said in a serious way, "There's somewhere we need to go." Winnie brushed the mud off her nose and nuzzled in close. Do you know where they're going? Let's find out. he drove all the way to the big city. Oh, here we are, said Harry, the London Zoo. Harry took a deep breath. Winnie, this is going to be your home for a while, he said. She tilted her head. We're shipping out to France, and I have to take care of the horses on the front. She rested her head right against him. I know you want to come, but it's not safe. Winnie's head bowed. Harry's hands were warm as sunshine, as usual. There's something you must always remember, Harry said. It's the most important thing. Really, even if we're apart, I'll always love you, and you'll always be my bear. You think Winnie and Harry are both kind of sad? Oh, sure. They'll be far apart. Is that the end? That's the end of Harry and Winnie's story, I said. But I don't want it to be over, Cole said. Sometimes you have to let one story end so that the next one can begin, I said. How do you know when that will happen? Asked Cole. Well, you don't, which is why you must always carry on. So a new story begins. Once upon a time, there was a little boy with a stuffed bear. He'd had his bear ever since he was a baby, but somehow the boy had never found the right name for him. He tried Teddy. He tried Edward. He even tried Big Bear. They just didn't seem like the right name. But one day the little boy and his dad went to the London Zoo, and there was a bear, a real bear, and he was on the terraces. Right away the boy thought, there is something special about that bear. Her name was Winnie. They became true friends. The boy was allowed to come right inside her enclosure to play. And once the boy had found Winnie, he knew just what he was going to call his stuffed bear. He named it Winnie the Pooh. And the boy was called Cole? His name was Christopher Robin Milne. Christopher Robin would visit Winnie at the zoo, and then he would take his stuffed animal on all sorts of adventures in the wood behind his home. His father, Alexander Milne, wrote books about them. So Harry's Winnie became Winnie the Pooh, and there has never been a more beloved bear. But what about Harry? Cole asked. Well, when Harry visited Winnie at the zoo, he saw how happy she was. She was being raised, she was being loved, and that's all he ever really wanted from the moment he met her at the train station in White River. So after the war, Harry returned to Winnipeg and his life as an animal doctor. Before long, he was married. There's Harry, and he had a son named Fred. Then Fred grew up and had a daughter named Lauren. Then Lauren grew up and had a daughter named Lindsay. And Lindsay grew up and had a little boy named Cole. That's me, said Cole. Yes, when I saw you, I thought there is something very special about this boy. So I named you after your great great grandfather, Captain Harry Colborne. And I decided to call you Cole. Oh my goodness, there's the whole family tree. That's me, said Cole in a whisper. That's you. And that's Winnie. Yes, that's Winnie. And it's all true. Sometimes the best stories are. Cole's eyes grew big and he said nothing for a long time, and then he hugged his bear close and he let out a yawn that reached far away, and they both turned over and fell asleep. Now they put a little album in here that shows Harry when he was a young soldier, and he used to write in a diary. He wrote in there about the day that he found Winnie the bear. And here he is with all his soldier friends. They were taking pictures. And now, boys and girls, there is a special statue that shows exactly what they saw in the picture here. And it now is in Winnipeg, remembering Harry and Winnie. And then here's a picture of Cole and Christopher Robin. Oh my goodness, look at that. Here's Cole. This was when he was visiting the bear at the London Zoo. What a special story. We started with our very special bear that Harry had found, and then we went on through all the generations until we got to the great-great-grandson that had his own little bear that he called Winnie the Pooh. Now, when we read this story, boys and girls, there was a lot of history in there and a lot of learning to do. I'm so happy we got to share Father Jeremy's special story, and I hope that when we have this on the recording, I hope that our friend Winnie and her mom and dad will be able to listen all the way from London, England. So let's say a little extra hello to Winnie, and we hope you enjoy it, and thank you for sharing this special book with us. And tonight, give your stuffed animal, even if it's not a bear, a special hug from you. Have fun, boys and girls, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.